you have to have your license, since I can't get into the systems yet.
This is all Realty One systems.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. So
okay.
you're going to go into,
So
one suite, and then that'll be the website that Realty One gives everybody for free, and it's connected to the CRM. You can just go that way. Yep. Okay, so if everybody picked up, signed in, and then picked up, we're going over setting appointments, learning how to use a block box, and then showing vacant, owner-occupied, and new homes. But I also printed this out because I had an agent over the weekend asking me, and it's how to add the little trademark R symbol after Realtor. So it's just a little something for you guys to keep in your little back pocket there. But okay, so for any of you that don't know me, I am Wendy Schaller. I have been a licensed realtor for just about 20 years, 15 years here at Realty One Group. I just took the position as the sales manager in June. So my job is really I kind of focus on helping, training, whatever the newer agents need. I do answer questions for the seasoned agents as well, but for the most part, I just kind of do all the training and hand holding that you guys need. I'm here 24/7. I say that, but yeah, I say that, but like my cell phone's on, and what you guys, I love to share with you guys that we do have 4 offices. All 4 brokers are there at the offices, and then here in Green Valley is John Stoll. He has the same position I do, but we are here at your beck and call whenever you need us. So we're physically in the office Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Tim and I, we keep our cell phones on from 5 to about 7 ringing, and then from 7 to 9-ish, maybe 10-ish, a text message only. But after that, and we do go to sleep. But so you guys do need anything. We do work nights and weekends, so don't feel like you can't talk to us over the weekend. We do have some agents coming in from other brokerages that they had no help over the weekend. That is not how we do it here at Realty One, so we are always here and available for you guys. So we're going to go over setting appointments and how to properly show homes and things like that. So I always like to start out with when you're setting appointments, you have a client, you've already set them up on a search. What do I have to do to, they were like, okay, I've got homes I want to see. Where do you start? Well, you kind of want to you want to limit what they see, because why? Why do you think you should only show so many homes a day? Reason why: they get overwhelmed and everything starts to blend together. So what's a good amount of homes that you should show in one day? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Well, I suggest 5, 6, maybe 7, and it just depends on your client. I always say, give me a list of 7 or 8 homes, because there's going to be 1 or 2 that you just can't get an appointment for, or you can't get in, or it goes under contract the morning of. But 6 is my general rule. I mean, there's no hard and fast number, like that's all you should show. But it happens. They get in there and they're like, wait a minute, was this, they want to make an offer, and they're like, was that the one with that blue room? What? And you don't remember. And then you're going back to the pictures going, was that? Did they show it? I don't know. And it gets overwhelming. And so what I do is I give them, and you'll have it in your packet here. There are 2 sheets. There's the one that I print out for myself that I always carry. It's called the Agent Full View. And then the one that I print out for my clients is the Agent Brochure View. And it's got a little picture of the front of the house. I don't give them the one with all the pictures, because that doesn't matter. They just want to see this so they have something to revert back to the list, the MLS list, when they get home. And what I do is I put everything in order, and that's why you'll see number 1 on the top of them. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on my sheet, the agent one, I'll put needs an appointment, or I set an appointment, 1:30. I don't know what the C meant. What did I write a C there for? I have no idea. Call. I don't know. But normally I say yes, no, or if I've left a message, I'll put a question mark, and then when they call back and tell me, yeah, I crossed the question mark off, so I know I can go in there. But if it's vacant, I'll put a V. We'll go into all of that, but these are the 2 sheets that I always print out for my clients. There's a slew of sheets and different views that you guys can do. These are just the ones I've done over the years. So do what's best for you and works with what you're doing. But so 5, 6, 7 homes a day. And again, when I say know your client, there are some clients they'll walk in, they'll say, yeah, I'm good, and then you're out within 10 minutes. There's other clients that want to view the house 2 to 3 times. It's a 2-story home. They'll go through it and they're like, okay, now let's pretend we're walking through the front door. Now let's pretend we're walking from the back door. And then they'll go just tour the house over and over and over again. And you're like, how many different directions do you need to see the house? So they might spend 20, 30 minutes in the house, every single house. But if they do it, the way I look, if it's 15 minutes or less, they probably don't, 10 minutes or less, they don't really like the house. It's just like, yeah, okay, I see it, whatever. But if, once you get to that 15-minute mark, you can kind of think, oh, well, maybe they kind of like it. So when you're placing, like how much time do you place in each house? I usually do 15 to 20 minutes per house. So when I've got 4 houses, I can see 3 to 4 houses in an hour. And that's with my drive time. And the reason why I say that is because when I get in here, I'm going to show you guys a map. So let's just go here. Oops. So I'm just going to show you the map. Let me scoot back a little bit here so everybody can see. So when you look at the valley here, I like to spread this into 4 quadrants, or separate it into 4 quadrants. So I have the north, well, I've got the north over here, the northwest, the southwest, and then like Henderson Green Valley area here. And the reason why I do that is your clients are like, I don't care, just show me something in $350,000. I want to see everything in the valley. I don't care a location. Well, you are not going to show homes in the north and in the southwest in the same day. I mean, unless they're flying in and they got one day and they're going to make a decision today, then you stop what you're doing. You're like, yeah, we're writing an offer today. But for the most part, they're going to take 2 or 3 or 4 days to go show homes before they decide. And you are not going to take every day running all back and forth. So you said today we'll start in the north, northwest. And I do sometimes do like 2 quadrants. Whoops. So I'll do like north and northwest, or northwest and Summerlin, or, you know, Summerlin South, or the southwest, and Henderson. You know, I spread, but I'm not going to go diagonal, and I'm not going to go from here to there. Like it's too much. So I generally like to stay in one quadrant, because you will usually have 5 to 10 homes in each quadrant, and then they're going to X out some of them. So just know that, and you determine what you're doing. And sometimes they'll say, okay, I have Saturday and Sunday to show homes. Okay, great. I'm going to put everything in order, and then I will let you know where we're starting. And then you decide, okay, we're going to start over here. And I'll be quite honest, I start what's convenient for me most of the time, like where I need to end up. Back in the day, I would take them in my car. Nowadays, I usually just don't. It's kind of stopped with COVID, and it's not because I was scared and all that, but people get a little, you know, oh, I don't want to drive, I this and that, and then they want you to start picking them up. And I had one client that she didn't even live here, but she's like, oh, my sister is going to view the homes, and then you guys can make a video. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, she told me I needed to pick her sister up down by IKEA to show her something in the north because she doesn't drive. And then I had to drive her. I said, your sister's not even buying this house. Like, she had nothing to do with it. And I said, will you be making an offer on what your sister said? She says, no, I will not be driving your sister around. You'll take them around. They're like, oh, can we stop for lunch? They always ask you for coffee and a lunch. When they're in your car, I have to go to the bathroom. Oh, okay, well, now I'm really thirsty. You know, and next thing you know, a 2-hour day turns into 5 hours, and it really didn't need to. Let's just get done what we need to do and then just move on. Now, have I spent all day with clients? Absolutely. Have I bought them lunch? Absolutely. But you got to know your clients and what's going on. Now, if they have kids, I'm all for taking out their kids and their whole family and whatever, as long as they're well behaved and not like jumping on sellers' beds and things. You can kind of get a feel what kind of kids they are. And yes, I will stop, let them have a bathroom break. I will buy them all drinks. Let's just go. But usually I will pack bottled water in my car. Oh, goodness. I don't know what's happening here. Let me try this. But I do pack snacks and bottled water, even if they don't have kids. I do always, because you just never know what's going to happen. And what you think is going to be 2 hours, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, I can't get out. Can you move it? And no fault of yours or your buyers. So just keep that in mind. Always just carry some water and some snacks. So then, again, know your clients. Some people like to be in and out. Others want to just spend all day with you, which is great, but you got things you got to do. Divide it into 4 quadrants. Print out the 2 views that I said that I use, but it's, again, whatever you guys want to use. And then I put them in driving order. So if they have the 5 or 6 houses that they want, you're going to stop and go, okay, if they're staying in a hotel or at their friend's house or whatever in Summerlin, do you want to start right by Nellis Air Force Base, or do you want them to just start like in Summerlin and move around? You know, like, where do you want to end? Where do they want to end? What's going on? So you kind of have to say, what's the rest of your plans for the day? And just kind of determine where we're going to start, you know, things like that. But I always tell them, give me a list of your top 6 or 7 homes. and I'll see which ones we can get into. I never say, we're only looking at 6. I just say 6 or 7 is good for the day. That's about how much time we have. I don't say how much time I have, and I don't want to tell them. You're going to get confused because then they're like, I'm not, but they do. So it's just all the way that you word it. This is how much time we have for the day. So where do you want to start? What are you planning on doing afterwards? And then that will kind of determine how you're going to break that up and show that. So then you do have to account for drive time, the day, the traffic, all of that kind of stuff. So I say 15 minutes, another 5 to drive, another 15 minutes to show, another 5 or 10 to drive. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Before you call to make appointments, you guys must look at, on the agent-to-agent view, it'll tell you showing at the very bottom. This one says appointment, showing time, agent, agent must call, to talk to the agent. There are restrictions. When you see it say showing time, you must book through showing time. If you do not, that opens you up for a $250 fine. If they say do not use showing time and you use showing time, they can turn you in and that opens you up for a $250 fine. They're telling you how they want you to make an appointment. They want you to call directly. They want you to go there. They don't want to be bothered. And you have to follow those rules. The only time it's key any is when it is a vacant home. Even if you have a seller that comes and goes, it is not key any unless it is vacant and nobody lives there, okay? So when it says vacant, even sometimes it'll say vacant and it's like call, set an appointment. And why they do that is they want to know when you're coming, or there's a gate code or an alarm code that they didn't want to put in there. So you need to call them first, find out what's going on, which if there's a reason to call that other agent, I'm calling. Even before, I'm like, hey, just calling to see before I set an appointment, do you have any offers on the property? Because when you build a rapport with that agent, they're going to remember you. They're like, great, do you have any offers? Is there anything specific about the property? If I think my clients are really going to love it. Anything that your seller is going to look for. And then they're like, oh my gosh, this agent already called and I already asked about it. She already knows. And then they'll say, oh, that refrigerator is going to stay in this. And so they're giving you a little extra information just because you called and had that rapport. Now, if they say in there, do not call the listing agent in those remarks, don't call listing agent. They're one of those that just, they don't want to talk to you. They're too busy or whatever they are, they just don't. So I always, when I'm looking at this sheet, I pull up the property that they give me and I immediately go, yep, correct address. Okay, the price is good. I go to agent remarks and then I go down to the bottom of the showing. And the agent to agent remarks says seller requires 2 hours notice before showing appointments. So now you know they want you to book in showing time, but give them at least 2 hours. You can't just say, oh, we're going out in an hour. If that's the case, then you can call the agent and say, I know that you want to book through showing time, but I also noticed that it does say 2 hours. We are out and about. Is there any way that we can get in the next hour? That would be an okay time to call them and say, great, I'm going to hang up and I'm going to call through showing time, just so they know that they're just not going to reject you. Because how showing time works, let me show you. Let me go over here. Let's pull up something here. Okay, so I'm going to pull up, say, this property here. So it just tells you all the information that we're looking at here, right? But if it says showing time, I would click on this little blue button. It says schedule a showing. And you click on it, and just walks you through there. It gives you the picture, the address, all the information about it, and then your information, and then it says schedule a single showing. So you would click on that. And it already tells you all this the black boxes there are already blocked off, and that's because it's 3 o'clock. So it's brought you to 3:15, 3:30. What time is it? 3:23. So basically, the first time you can book an appointment is 3:30 on this one, and you would just click a box, and then it says you requested appointment that's limited. Okay, so wait a minute, get back, select a different time. I didn't realize. So these are grayed out, so they're just not letting me for whatever reason. It's not enough time to let the seller know. So 3:30 right here. I clicked the wrong one. So it just goes up here. Again, information, it says in there, usually says max appointment length 2 hours. They don't want you hanging out on the property. And then usually this will book, it's like set to book for like 15 minutes, but this one looks like appointment end time. They're letting me book for like an hour, whatever. You can go in there and change the restrictions. You can go in there and block off dates and times. So that's a whole nother class that you would want to take. That's usually through LVR. They kind of show you how to do that stuff. I'm going to get out of here because...
Is this anything that we have to establish or sign up
No, it comes in there with the LVR, the MLS system. Now, but again, some agents don't use it because Zillow does own this, and agents are like, I want nothing to do with Zillow. But as you can see right here, because they're like, I don't want my clients to get my clients' information. But as you can see, it didn't ask me anything about my clients. So it just Zillow knows when we're showing the homes and stuff like that, because all my information is in there, from the last screen. So it's a hit or miss. I hated it at first, but it's so convenient. It really is, because what happens is you'd say, well, Stephen, you would book it, you would click it, book it. It's going to send me a text, send me an email, and it says, are you okay with this showing? I hit yes, and it immediately sends them a confirmation email, and that's all I have to do. Or they decline it, and then it says, no, please pick another time, and you write in the reason why it was declined. Super easy. And then after you show it, it immediately starts sending you, please give me feedback on this property. So as a listing agent, it's asking them, so I don't have to go that step, even though I do. When I take listings, I use my lockbox, and these lockboxes are, you pay for them, so they're assigned to you. So the minute somebody, you're going to push enter, you're going to type your code in there, and then it's going to, and then open up. The minute it opens up, it sends me an alert that with all your information, your brokerage, your name, your email, your phone number, like everything's coming in. And so I know who's in my property. Then she takes the key out, she shuts it, she goes in towards it, she opens it back up to put the key in. Now I know how long she's been in that property because she's opened it a second time. So I can tell my clients that every night, what I tell my clients when I list my home is I tell them, I know this is more for the listing class, but I tell them, I've got this on an electronic lockbox. Every time somebody enters your home, I will have all of that information. If somebody views your home, I will call you that evening by 7 p.m. to let you know, because what I do is by 5:30, 6 o'clock, I start calling those agents. I saw you viewed my property today. What did your clients think? Do you have any feedback for me? Whatever. I make a note, and then I call my client. So I tell my client, if you don't hear from me, maybe that's because nobody viewed your property today. I don't want to call them and say, nobody was there. They're going to get sick of that. So I only call them when somebody's in the property. And then this kind of helps out. Now, we do sometimes run out of boxes from time to time. That's a good problem to have. But you're kind of forced to, like, what do I do? You could go to Home Depot, $20, you could get the manual one. It's not safe, really, because you don't know who's coming and going. You don't know who the last person is. If they forgot to put the key back, you'll never know who it was, unless you have cameras, and then you can kind of see. But still don't know that agent, So these are always, they're about $180, $200 a piece. But they last forever. I don't even know when I got these. And if the battery goes down, I just bring it back, they switch it out, whatever. So they take care of you, but it monitors everything. So I strongly encourage everybody to at least add one lockbox, and then when you start getting busy, add some more. Everything's done through the LVR. So let's see. There's that. So we said read the remarks when you're going to set appointments. We did that. I showed you how to get in there. All right, so then again here on page 2, I talk about how I write at the top, appointment, vacant, and then I'll do 1:30, 1:45, 2 o'clock, and I put there what time, and it kind of helps me as we're standing in the property. We walk in, go to show it, and I'll say, okay, guys, what are your thoughts? We got to stay on schedule. We got to be at the next property by 1:45. So it kind of hurries them along, because you can get to talking to them and you forget, and you're like, oh shoot, that the seller's waiting, and this one's vacant, but there's someone in there, and oh my gosh, and they're sitting there waiting in the driveway with their dogs and the heat, and so you really, if there's a seller, you really want to be aware of timing. And if you are going to be late, call the listing agent, or if sometimes the seller's number is in there, call them and say, I had a 1:45 appointment. I'm just running behind. Just know that I'm on my way. If you want, I can text you when I'm 5 minutes out, whatever, but I'm leaving. This is where I'm at. And just so they know, because nothing infuriates a seller more if they're out with their kids or walking around the neighborhood and they're like, where is this person? And because they're watching you, they usually get in their car and they park down the street and they watch because they want to know who's buying their property. So they're sitting around there somewhere, but it's like they've already stepped out of the house. So you just want to be convenient, because if you aren't, and you show up 15 minutes late and you didn't call them and they're frustrated, then you make an offer, guess what? It's not, they're already mad at you. They're already mad at you. So just kind of be aware of what you're doing there. And then sometimes you do have to backtrack. You'll start making these in a certain row, like a drive time. And then like house number 3 says you can't get to me until this time, but you've already left appointments for 4 and 5, so now you have to move those up and then go back. And so it happens. And that's why I say don't do more than 1 or 2 quadrants, because you don't want to be halfway over here and then have to go back over there and then have to go back over there. Sometimes you have to say to that seller when they're like, oh, can you make it at 4 o'clock instead? You know what? I cannot do that today. But if anything changes, I'll let you know. Otherwise, we'll try to fit you in on another day. Sometimes when you say that, they're like, okay, never mind. You could just come. But other times there's no way to get the dogs out of the house, and they just don't want you in there, and that's fine. And that's why I say pick 6 or 7 of them or 8 of them, because some of them you just can't always get into them, right? Okay, so lockbox. Let's see. So you must have an app on your phone in order to connect to these lock boxes. It's called the Sentry app. Let me pull mine up here. And I can't really make it, but it's blue and it's got like a square little box that kind of sort of looks like this. You're going to want to download that, and when you do, it knows it's you, and then you go up to these boxes. And I always like to show people. I have instructions. Did I put them in here? Yeah. So wake up the box by clicking enter on the bottom left. And then once you see the lights go blue, then you're going to hold your phone up here. It's going to Bluetooth, and you just wait for it to go, and then open up. And then, so for the last 5 years, I've been training agents before I took this position. So I do a step-by-step, because it's a foolproof how to not look like an idiot when you're a realtor, is what I used to call it when I would train them. So I would say, okay, push enter, do this, do that. They take a picture of it, and they say, oh, just wait up by the front door. I'm going to get the key, and I'll be back. And then they can pull that up, and they follow the directions. We have to do whatever we have to do. They don't need to know that we don't know what we're doing. Sometimes we just don't know what we're doing. So any cheat sheet you guys can make for yourself, go for it. Take a picture, save it on your phone. Nobody's going to know. Just say, oh, I got to get to my app. And then you just read it, Nobody's going to know, okay? So with that, you just hit the button, like I said, and then you hold your phone up there. Now, sometimes these boxes have a mind of their own, and they don't always work, or they don't always latch shut. They don't always open, and like you've got to call. So if you are having a hard time with it, call the listing agent. I'm at your house. I can't get the lockbox to open. Can you help me with this? Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. And then again, you can't get into that house. So it's just what happens. So just tell them, hey, no fault of mine. Sorry, guys, the lockbox is not opening. I've already called the agent. She can't get it to work from afar either. So we'll have to come back, put this on the list for another time. There's a reason. I live by everything happens for a reason. So if I wasn't supposed to get into that house, wasn't supposed to get in that house. I just move on. Sorry, guys, we'll try it again next day or whatever. So also, if it doesn't connect and you're sitting there with your phone like, okay, what's going on? There, you'll have onto this app, it'll say view nearby properties. Let me see. How's my mobile experience? There's a big button here that says view nearby properties. If I click on that, it'll show me any lockbox that's up. It probably won't do it here because this room is like all made of concrete, but it'll tell me any lockboxes that are around me. And then what I do is there's a number on the top of this lockbox. You just match it up. See, I just got a list of them. And it tells you the address. There's one on Pedal Point, 2, 3, 4 on Pedal Point, Cosette, Glacier Peak. I just find the address. And then there's a lockbox number. You can't see it, but the address is in bold, and underneath it is in gray, a lockbox number. And you just match it up and say, yep, that's the one. You click on it, and then it just opens up. So, but you always want to just hit enter and hold your phone there. That's the best way to do it, but sometimes it just doesn't connect. So just hit view nearby properties, and then you're good. Take the key out, shut the box. Because as a listing agent, I need to know how long you've been in that house. If you were in and out in 2 minutes, I might not even call you. I probably will, but I just don't have my hopes up. The seller, every time somebody's through their house, if they live in there, they're like, what did that person say? They're super excited. So that's why I say pre-approve your clients and don't just take them there because they just have nothing to do for the day. Because if there's somebody living in that home, they are running around and they're vacuuming and they're tidying up and they're taking the kids out, and they're taking the dogs out. And it's a whole lot of work for them to step out for you to just look at the house for the day because you guys are bored. If you have clients that are not pre-approved and not ready, say, and you want to show them that they're not pre-approved and you still want to take them out, only show them vacant homes. And you can tell them, hey, it's a lot of work for the sellers to get ready. We aren't 100% ready yet. So I could take you to view any kind of vacant homes that we have, if you're okay with that. But try not to inconvenience sellers, because put yourself in that place. If you, yeah, really, if you're, I don't know if you guys have ever tried to sell a house and try to get out of there with people showing it, it's a pain. And one time when I was 8 months pregnant, and I had two 70-pound dogs, and I'm like, oh my God, I clean the house, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to get out of the house. And then the last time I sold my house 2 years ago, it was the same thing. I had two 70-pound dogs, different dogs at this time, and my teenager, and then she's screaming at me, like, I'm like, grab the vacuum, and as I'm vacuuming, as I'm walking out the door, I'm like, put the vacuum in the car. It's a lot, because you're spraying air freshener, you're walking out the door. You're just prepping the house. So until you go to sell your own home, you do not know what's involved for these sellers to show it. The ones that really care about the way that it looks. There's other ones that are like, yeah, whatever, and they got clothes all over the floor. They just don't care. But then that should make your buyers think, well, if they have lived like this and they know we were coming and they still showed it like this, So I always say, just know your buyers. If they're ready, great. But if they're not, just nicely just show them vacant homes. That would be aggressive. But all right, so with that, you guys can take a picture of that, save that to your phone so you know. But if whenever in doubt, if it doesn't open, call the listing agent, because there's something in here called a one-day code. And just say, listen, I'm at your lockbox. I can't get in. It's not working. I've tried everything. And then if they say, is there any way you can give me a one-day code? And they'll probably say, yeah, sure. I just need your PID or public ID number. And it's that number that you're going to use to log into the MLS. It's not your license number. It's this number right here. Let me get out of here. So each agent has a different one. This person's, this listing agent's number is right here. It says public ID. So when you log into the system, you're going to log in with your public ID. Everybody's got a public ID, and that's how you remember it, because it's your login for this MLS system. So you give them that, and they say, great. They go up here, and they're going to look like here. This is what I do. Whenever somebody calls me like this, I go up here, and I say, yeah, just give me 1 second. And I do AG, and I do Wendy Schaller. Oops. And all my information pops up here. So then you click on it, say, okay, well, they're licensed. Let's see. They told me they were this brokerage. They told me this, and all my information, my brokerage for phone number. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're a licensed realtor. And then I say, here's here's a one-day code. Now on your app that you do, oops, oh goodness. There's one in here that says release shackle, to put it on a thing. It will release this. Get an access code is what we want, but then there's an access log that tells you who's been in it. And then there's an assign to lockbox. So every time I hang this, I want to assign it to that property. So it pops up like on that list we looked. But so you would get an access code. And so this agent would do this for you. Oh, what happened? Then you have to pick which box it's for. And then it asks you to name it. So I would say, Stephen, none. And then I would put the date. And then once you do that, it generates an access code that is good for that day only. At midnight, it shuts off, and it's like one-time use. So when you go in, don't shut the lockbox on that time, because then you have to call them back to get another access code to open that lockbox again. But there's a way around that. But sometimes there's an area off of Blue Diamond. What is that area down there? Oh, I forget it. It's not Southern Highlands. It's that other ranch area down there. But anyways, there's no Wi-Fi. These boxes are very hard. It's a hit or miss when you walk up there if it's going to work. So, and they all know it. So most of the time you have to drive away to call the agent, because you have no cell service or anything out there. And then you have to call them, say, I can't get the box. They give you a one-day code. But that's the way to use the box there. So let's see. Also, if you take the key out and leave this open, sometimes these boxes time out and you can't lock it. So then you tour the house. You might spend a half hour, 45 minutes in there. You come back, drop the key in there. When you shut it, it doesn't clasp. And you're like, oh, no, what am I supposed to do? And sometimes you can't wake it up. You have to call the agent and say, I left the box open and it's not, and it's hard, because I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be like, okay, well, there's an 800 number on the back. Call them and maybe they can reset it. You're stuck and you can't leave with somebody's key. That's an automatic fine right there. Back in the day when it was a hot market, that's what they were doing. They were stealing our keys out of the box because they didn't want multiple offers. So they get in there, they're like, show it, and then they leave with the key. Nobody else can show it. So then they're submitting offers. And you're like, God, I didn't get any offers on it. And then they go back in the evening, put it back. You never knew the bot until an agent would call. So that's another thing. If you guys open this lockbox, your number is there. You are that current person in that house. So if you get the key out, or if there's no key, you immediately call that agent and you, hey, I'm just letting you know I opened this lockbox. Right then and there, there's no key in there. Or you get the key out, you go walk up to the door, the door's open. I call. I do not step in there. I said, I'm just letting you know. I took the key out, walked to the front door, that door's open. I don't know who the last person in here was, but I'm reporting that to you right now. Now, I go in there, open the door, I start screaming, and I always open the door when I knock on it, whether they have the key there or not, if it's just a regular showing. I know it's vacant. I still, ding, 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 ding. I don't mess around. Like, I'm making sure if somebody's in that house, because I did have a 3-year-old open the door on me when it said it was vacant, and it was a whole family of squatters. There's about 9 of them. And they're like, we live here. I said, it says it's vacant. And they shut the door. I called the agent. I'm like, why would you say it's vacant? She goes, it's vacant. I said, oh, no, it's not vacant. There's like 9 people in there, and there's boxes. She's like, so they were squatting. I had to wait. We had to call the police. I had to give a statement. You get involved real quick, and that shortens your day of showings. You know, you're like, sorry, I can't leave now. There's times when they set the alarm and they don't tell you. And you walk in, the alarm's going off. You can't get the agent, and now the police are dispatched. Now you got to sit there and wait and tell the police, I'm a realtor. Here's my card. I'm showing homes for the day. I can't get the agent on the phone. I mean, it's just, things happen. So just keep in mind, you know, not everything goes so smoothly. And but it's just an eventful day, guys. It's a day you'll remember. And then it'll be that house that the alarm went off, or the house with the squatters, or the house, you know, that gives you just another way to describe the house. So, all right. So let's go on to showing a vacant home. I'm going a little fast through these because when I first started these classes, this was my longest class, and it turned out to be like 2.5 hours long because I had so much to say. So I'm trying to blow through these because I don't want to keep you guys here for that long. But so there is a difference of when you show a vacant home as when you show a home with owners in it and when you show a new build, okay? So when it's a vacant home, where do you park?